As I mentioned earlier, using the horizontal line of the diamond guide creates a particular effect. In this section, I'm going to talk about how to use the diamond guide at level 3. At level 1, we use solely the central line as a guide for our compositions. At level 2, we can use any of the lines apart from the horizontal line. We must also remember that the central line is always dominant, so it's important to place subject matter in that area. At level 3, we can use any of the lines, but we have to be mindful of what happens when we use that horizontal line. So you're probably asking now, what happens when you use the horizontal line? This is my version of the Transfiguration by Raphael. He uses a composition where a portrait canvas is divided into two areas. Using the horizontal line divides the canvas, and that division creates some really interesting and unusual effects. The top part of Raphael's painting depicts the Transfiguration of Christ, and the bottom part of the canvas shows a different episode from the Bible. These images could have been separated into a series, but incorporating them into a single piece of artwork is very effective because it makes the composition seem more complex. If I place the diamond guide above the image, you can see that many of the elements are in line with the diamond guide. Christ is placed on the central line, which is the most dominant position. The two figures beside him are placed on the other two vertical lines. You'll also notice that in the bottom section of the image, the dark space follows one of those diagonal lines. This area is significant because it divides both groups of people. It's where the crowd comes together. In many pieces by old masters, you'll find that a crowd scene is never just a crowd scene. Every character is placed within a complex composition, and their every movement is tailored to the overall impact of the piece. Like a Broadway musical, everyone knows where they're supposed to stand, because it's a performance. Each mass of people conforms to a shape, and then those shapes come together. Raphael uses the composition to great effect. There is a lot of detail in this image, but Raphael creates space around Christ, and your eyes immediately focus on that area. It's an image that is full of drama. He has used a dramatic composition in order to take you out of your everyday life and show you a miracle. This is my version of Christ in Glory by the artist Pompeo Battoni. I was stunned by the beauty of the original, and it was a pleasure to study the piece by creating my own version. When I place the diamond guide above, we can look more closely at the image. The piece is divided into two sections. I like how the horizontal divide is curved rather than a clear line. The clouds curve slightly below the line, and the face of the figure on the left is just above the horizontal line. It's a nice effect that doesn't make the divide too harsh or obvious. The top section of the image shows Christ and the angels, and below there are saints. The top section of the image is very similar to Raphael's painting. Christ is on the center line, and two angels are placed on the other two vertical lines. The bottom section is different. We see four saints, and I do like the composition that Battoni has chosen. He alternates between a figure standing and a figure that is seated. Up, down, up, down. It's like a wave or a group of mountains. It creates a good composition in that area. You'll notice that the wave is in line with the V shape of the diamond. At the top left of the V, there is a standing figure. The V then slopes down to a seated figure, then it slopes back up again to another standing figure. The diamond guide is based on many images, and the dividing line creates an interesting composition. These images were popular in churches, and many artists have used this type of composition. It goes particularly well with Christian subject matter. Passages from the Bible tend to feature the contrast between earth and the divine, or heaven and hell. The ordinary and the miraculous must be portrayed in the same image. And these concepts are divided into contrasting parts, and because of this, it makes sense to divide the image into two parts.